is Jabari Johnson, and this is Spread the Word. Happy King Day weekend. Andre Russell and almost birthday girl Cameron Green. Folks, you got to call Cameron today and tell her happy birthday because it's Saturday coming up.
Thank you.
She loves birthday wishes, even if it's a few days early.
Yes.
So it's upcoming Saturday, the
21st.
There you go. Happy early birthday, Cameron Green.
Thank you.
And we'll celebrate the birthdays in a few minutes with Cameron. Everybody's birthdays right here. We'll celebrate them. Cameron, right now, we got somebody special we want to celebrate because this is a special weekend. It's the Kingdom Day weekend. Today is the actual birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And, of course, there's a special Kingdom Day feeding going on tomorrow. And we want to get to brother, the architect, who's doing all of this. You've heard his voice before. You've heard him on the radio. I feel like he's a part of Spread the Word. He's part of the family here, and we're glad to have with us Pastor Sherman D. Manning is with us right now. Hello, Pastor. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you. Happy King Day to everybody, and thank you for finally bringing me in the family, my brother.
There you go. The Yes We Can Worship Center is his place of worship. It's at 103rd Avalon. You got to go check him out there sometime. Pastor, what did you preach about this morning?
I preach Friday night, so our service is every Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m., and we talked about how to be great in 2023.
All right. There you go. Pastor Manning, we're glad you could join us today and tell us about what you have going on. Of course, we mentioned the Yes We Can Worship Center and this Kingdom Day feeding that was going on. And when was the Yes We Can Worship Center founded? When did you start the church?
We founded it 6 years ago, and we founded it. The first member was actually a guy that I housed. He was a homeless guy, homeless Hispanic guy. And so we organized a church, and our primary goal, other than just preaching the gospel, is to house the homeless and feed the hungry. And on a day like today, which is Dr. King's birthday, I thought about my mentor in Atlanta, Georgia, Reverend Hosea Williams. And Reverend Hosea Williams had the largest Feed the Hungry program in the nation. I remember in 1994, we fed 30,000 people. I was a little boy working for Reverend Williams, and he was the chief field general for Martin Luther King Jr., along with Andy Young and others. And so on tomorrow, we want to celebrate Dr. King and Hosea Williams, my mentor from Atlanta, by feeding the hungry on Skid Row. And we actually feed the hungry every Friday night at my church at 7 o'clock also, as you said, on 103rd and Avalon.
And Pastor, it's great to be in your company, and congratulations, and thank you for all that you're doing to help the unhoused. Do you work with other LA pastors on this platform of helping folks in the unhoused?
Yes, Pastor Stanley Richard, Beacon Light. Actually, the church is Beacon Light on Sundays, and it's Yes We Can Worship Center on Friday nights. And the first Friday in February, actually, we're going to be having a national prayer vigil for our mayor, Mayor Karen Bass, because she has inherited the largest homeless epidemic in the world, so to speak. And because I have been in the trenches, I often tell people that my office is in the streets, not in the suites. I've been in the trenches for the past 6 years, housing the homeless and feeding the hungry. I know that her task is monumental. So at my church, February 3rd, on that Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m., we're going to be having a prayer vigil for Mayor Karen Bass and her work for the homeless, and Pastor K.W. Toulis, President of the Baptist Ministers Conference, Dr. L.A. Kazee, past President, Pastor Stanley Richard, Chief Apostle Michael Rose, and many of us are coming together, and we're going to take Karen Bass to the throne because she's going to need help from heaven to get this done.
I appreciate that, Pastor, and I'm sure there are many Spread the Word listeners who are like, I really want to get involved. Do you offer or solicit or accept help from the community? And if so, how can some of our listeners get involved if they'd like to?
Well, two ways. Yes, we can, worshipcenter.org. They can just go to the website. We always need volunteers to help us feed and take care of the homeless, and they can also call the church, 213-858-2608. And by the way, our podcast, which is Yes We Can podcast with Pastor Sherman D. Manning, and along with attorney Tom Mesereau, he was Michael Jackson's lawyer, he will be helping to sponsor this prayer vigil for Mayor Karen Bass. This is very important to us. She's a great woman. I met her before she won office. I also met Rick Caruso. And I hope that since Rick Caruso ran against her and he was so adamant about housing people, and he is also a billionaire, now that he did not win the election, if he loves the community the way I believe he does, I hope that he'll come and help us to put Karen Bass on our shoulders and let's get these people off the streets. We need help, and we need it now.
And what do you think about Mayor Karen Bass's plan to house the homeless, Pastor?
I think her plan is great. I think the plan is fabulous. Where I would warn her, and some of my preacher friends might get upset with me, but that has never stopped me before. I would warn her against two things. Number one, make sure she doesn't just allow a lot of developers and fat cats to get rich off of trying to house the homeless when they don't have the people's best interest at heart. And also make sure that she doesn't make a lot of pastors wealthy by asking for grants and money from the city to house the homeless. Listen to me well. Any pastor that wasn't concerned about the homeless before she won the office, suddenly now he wants a program to try to get a grant from the city. It's just manipulation, and God will punish them for that. I want to let it be known that Yes We Can Worship Center, Pastor Sherman D. Manning, we will not accept a dime from the city. We don't want a grant from the city. We don't want a grant from the government. The housing that we do, the feeding that we do, we pay for it ourselves. You know, at my church on Friday nights, every Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m., I'll probably give away more money, Brother Andre and Sister Cameron, than we take in the offering, because this is a different kind of church. And there are some great pastors in this city, and I'm not criticizing them. There are many great pastors in this city. But the church as a whole, lots of people have stopped coming to the church because a lot of churches, the pastor got a Rolls Royce and everybody else is on the bus. And I just don't believe in that kind of ministry. My ministry is based on St. Matthew chapter 25. I was hungry, and you fed me not. I was in prison, and you visited me not. Sister Darlene provides hot meals every Friday night at my service, and they are free. And this food is better than M&M's. No disrespect. I like M&M's, y'all. But Sister Darlene, Andre, it's a hot meal, $15 or $20 meal, and we give every one of them away free of charge. We are serious about feeding and housing, and we're serious about helping Mayor Karen Bass. And I want some pastors to stand with her and not be begging for money at the same time.
Listen, this is a brother whose heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
Pastor, a couple of things. Reiterate once again, how can folks check out your podcast?
The podcast is Yes We Can Podcast with Pastor Sherman D. Manning. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and we're also on iHeart. And they can also just go to PastorShermanDManning.com, PastorShermanDManning.com, and all of the podcast information is there. And the podcast is actually sponsored by the church.
All right. And one more time now, what is the phone number people can call? Because a lot of people are going to want information. And how can they keep up with you and find out more about this event? Is there a phone number?
213-858-2608. 213-858-2608. And I need to get you and Cameron to please come to our church on one of our Friday night services. Maybe you all can come when we have the prayer vigil for Mayor Karen Bass. But we want all the pastors in this city, and there are many of them who are great, and many of them with their hearts in the right place. We want them to converge on Yes We Can Worship Center the first Friday in February 3rd, and let's lift up our great mayor in prayer, because this is an epidemic of homelessness. Every time I house one, Brother Andre, 3 more come. I mean, it's like a never-ending cycle. And the only way we're going to get this done is that we have to work together, and we have to be serious about it, because it's trench warfare dealing with the homeless in this city. Not everybody's a drug addict. Not everybody is crazy. People have different levels of homelessness. I coined the phrase post-traumatic street disorder. And I took that from a guy who had been homeless for 9 years, Brother Andre. Got him an apartment, and I knocked on his door a week later, and he had a tent set up in the living room. He was sleeping in the tent in the living room. And I didn't know whether to cry or start laughing. But it was post-traumatic street disorder. And so there are severe problems on these streets in Los Angeles, and our work is cut out for us. But if we come together as clergy, as business community, as civic community, as the great radio station owned by the greatest singer of all time, Stevie Wonder, if all of us come together, y'all, we can do this. Yes, we can.
Pastor Sherman D. Manning is with us from the Yes We Can Worship Center, and the Kingdom Day feeding is happening. If you want to find out more or get involved, here's the number. And if you can't get it now, if you're driving or whatever, call us anytime. We'll give you the number. It's 213-858-2608. 213-858-2608. Again, it's 213-858-2608.
And Pastor, thank you so much again for your commitment, to this epidemic, to helping the unhoused, those who are on the streets. We'd love for you also to share again about your service for those who are driving around and are searching for a church home or who'd like to join you for worship.
Yes, every Friday night. My Friday night service is my Sunday morning service. every Friday night, 7 o'clock p.m. We're on 103rd and Avalon, right across the street from Superior. Bring, in the miracle services, they would bring people in wheelchairs and on crutches, and we will touch them and try to heal them. Well, I say bring the poor, bring the starving, bring the hungry, bring the unhoused, bring them all. They are welcome at Yes We Can Worship Center every Friday night, 7 o'clock p.m., 103rd and Avalon. If they forget that, just go to yeswecanworshipcenter.org. Want to give a shout out to my dear friend Tom Owens. Love him very much. And I love you guys on Spread the Word. And I just appreciate the platform because we do need volunteers and we do need people to help us take care of God's children.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pastor, for coming on and spreading the word. This is a great cause. And happy King Day weekend to you, Pastor Manning.
God bless you. Yes, we can.
Radio Free 102.3, KJLA Spring.